my fellow parliamentarian, Mr. Silal Prasad, Regional Chairman, Vice Chairman, Chairman of the NDC, respected elders, brothers and sisters, comrades and friends. It's once again a pleasure for me to be in Region 5 and to be able to speak to you on this occasion on an important topic. I listened carefully to Silal. Well, you know, Silal spent his whole life as a policeman. So I heard a policeman talking. And you know, we don't have in Guyana, the ordinary man doesn't have a good relationship with a policeman. And that is part of the problem that we have to address. So Silal was very formal, and rightfully so, in his presentation. And I want to be less formal, so that each and every one of you would understand what formally restorative justice is, and you will understand it in a formal setting, in a legal setting, but restorative justice has also an informal life. And in fact, if the informal part of it becomes more pervasive, then it would enhance the cause of restorative justice much more swiftly than if we are relying on the formal part of it. So what is restorative justice? Simply put, we all know we born and grew up and evolve in a society where once there is a wrong, there is a sanction or a penalty. And that system of crime and punishment is what we have known our whole life. So a person commits a crime, he must be punished. What is punishment? Lock him away from society. Depending upon the gravity of the crime, intensify the punishment. So you have solitary confinement, where you lock him up in a dark hole for a prescribed period. Or you have flogging. Or you have imprisonment with hard labor. And that is the conventional system of punishment that we all know. If that was effective, then we would need policemen. We would not have needed a prison system. And worse yet, we would not even need lawyers. Obviously, it has not worked. Social scientists and criminologists gone back to the table to review the system. And they have been reviewing it for a very, very long time, coming up with new and innovative ways of addressing crime and punishment. They have introduced the rehabilitative and reformative component to punishment. So now punishment is not only penal in its nature, but it's rehabilitative and reformative. So when you come out of prison, you're supposed to be, apart from being punished, your liberty is taken away, you have certain confinements, and you have to do things that, you know, you ordinarily would not have to do. But in addition to that, there is a part of the course of your time in there that ought to rehabilitate you and reform you so that when you come out, you are a better individual. That's one evolution that took place in the penal system. There is still another evolution, and that is restorative justice. And it is, first of all, intended to avoid imprisonment. That's the first objective. And that is why restorative justice only applies to minor offenses, not serious offenses. So murder, rape, manslaughter, causing death by dangerous driving, those are serious offenses. Sexual offenses and so on. We're not going to deal with that. Those people will have to go to the traditional jail and pay their dues there and be rehabilitated and reformed in the manner that I spoke about. But for the same reasons that we have heard, imprisonment and the penal system is a very, very expensive undertaking. Taxpayers' money have to fund it. Billions and billions of dollars we pump into the penal system, the prison system of our country. And it is overcrowded. It is overloaded. And the truth of the matter is, when the persons come out, they do not necessarily come out reformed or rehabilitated. Many of you will agree with me that they come out seemingly worse. And recidivism then develops, where they become a cycle now, they go back into there, because they're not cured. And they become career criminals. Because sometimes when they go in there, the experiences that they have, rather than rehabilitate them, degenerates them. And they come out worse than they go in. And we are working on that component to correct that. Once you go in there, you ought to come out better. And we are spending billions of dollars on that component of the system. But this is to, if we don't want you to go in there, what do we do with you? And that is what restorative justice is all about. It is also about getting to you before you get to the justice system. And that is why, and that's why you're here, most importantly. We have to train you, as we have been doing. We have to train you to begin to practice restorative justice in your community, in the mandirs, in the mosques, in the churches, in your social environment, very early when a problem surfaces, so that you don't graduate. It doesn't graduate to the court system. One component of restorative justice deals with going to the root cause of the problem. So a teacher sees a child come to school with marks of violence, that should send a signal. And that teacher, once he or she is trained, and that's what we plan to do, will begin to investigate. And may find that this child is in a hostile and antagonistic environment, and if the child continues to be there, that child is going to be destroyed. Restorative justice enables you very early to go into that environment and stamp out the issue or reveal it so that actions can be taken. Because that very child, if he or she continues in that abusive environment, can become a murderer at the end of the road or later on in life. So once you see these things happening, restorative justice allows you to investigate it and go and find the root causes behind it and stamp it out very, very early, long before it reaches the formal system that Silal is speaking about. And that's where every one of you have a role to play. And that is why training you is important. All of you, all of you who want to be trained, who are leaders, so that you can detect these things. Let me give you a classic example. A man goes to court. He's charged with, I don't know, larceny, simple larceny. He appears before the magistrate, he pleads guilty, and he goes to jail. When he comes back, when he comes out back, more likely he's going back. Because it's a completely sterile process that happened. Nobody inquired why he stole. He just go there, plead guilty, and it's gone. There may be a reason why he stole. Maybe he's depressed. He has mental problems. None of that is being investigated or interrogated. Stands up before a court, pleads guilty, gone straight into the penal system. He comes out back worse. So we need to go to find out, go behind, and to get to the root causes. But let's move forward now. So that's one component of it, and that's why we need to train as many people as possible to get our society educated and alive to these issues from a very, very young age and start to root them out. We are a society of machoism. You know, we don't like to show emotions, particularly among our men. And that's not a cause of problem, not a cause for problems. But let's get back to the formal system. This restorative justice allows you to become part of the justice system. So a person is charged in one of the category of offenses to which the Restorative Justice Act can apply, and either through the DPP or the prosecutor or through the lawyer, you indicate to the magistrate that you want restorative justice to take place rather than the formal justice being applied. And that allows for the offender to sit down with the persons who are appropriately trained, you here, and the victim, and you sort the matter out. Sort the matter out. It's as simple as that. It may involve compensation. It may involve a simple apology. It may involve the offender having to serve some form of penal action, not necessarily confinement in a prison, either having to report to the police at periodic intervals, etc., etc. But whatever it is intended to repair that interpersonal relationship between the victim and the accuser. And that is a significant thing that we have ignored over the years. Two neighbors fight. They go to court. One win and one lose. And that's the system we have. Nobody don't draw. Somebody will lose and somebody will win. And once that happens, we become enemy for life. Enemy for life, and enmity that will pass down now to your children. Remember, you're still neighbors. But your children will grow up hearing that the man may carry my daddy at court, and my daddy had to pay fine, or my daddy get jail. Children now bearing that malice in their mind, they will never forgive that. Restorative justice. And remember, you still got to live in that community. Look how long that one problem will now last. Restorative justice allows for a third party, possibly another leader in the community, to bring the two neighbors together and trash it out. And at the end of the process, hopefully, the bad blood gone. You get your compensation. Sometimes most of you want a back pardon. You get your back pardon, you get your compensation. If you tear and broke up your shot, you broke your fence, we fix back that. You get one little tap up and you're all right. You're your friend. You got to shake hand and so on, and life goes on. And that report is made to the magistrate. And that's, in a nutshell, what restorative justice is about. Is to want to root out, to get to the real cause of the problem. Secondly, to bring the accused and the victim together and to ensure that that relationship that obviously is bad and that led to a court matter or led to some fight or quarrel is repaired. And thirdly, it involves the community. It involves you in the formal and informal justice system. This is a new initiative now taking root in the Caribbean. It is now in Guyana. We have a Restorative Justice Act. Mr. Silal Prasad is the director. He will run the show. It's obviously a countrywide initiative. While there's a law, it can't apply to one region. But as he said, we have started a pilot project on the east coast of the Demerara. And once we iron out the creases and we understand what needs to be done to get the machinery working, we will extend it across the country. But, as Indira said, we have to begin the training. What we are doing here is one component of the exercise, which is to bring public awareness. Get your buy-in, get you to understand what we have, what restorative justice is. And once you understand it, then X number of you will want to get involved. And when you want to get involved, we train you. And you become trained. And when it comes to your community, we induct you into the system. Next week, I believe, or the following week, we are in Region 6. And we are going to hold 3 of these engagements. So we'll have another set of people that we will train on the quarantine and in New Amsterdam. And we begin to work with them now in the informal way. Because once you train them, they become educated, they become alive to the issues that I'm speaking about getting to the root of problems. And we believe once the system, this restorative justice becomes an entrenched part of our legal system, it will have an impact. The truth of the matter is, and the empirical data will show, that the harsh penal approach to crime over the past 200-300 years have not really helped. So there is a softer side, a more scientific, a more sociological, a more psychological type of approach, taking into account the peculiarities and the idiosyncrasies of human behavior. That type of approach is what is now being recommended. And that's the type of approach that we are now going to inculcate in Guyana. It doesn't mean that we will not continue to condemn people and jail those who commit serious offenses. We are speaking about offenses that are not serious, that are not violent. And that when people go into jail, they come out back worse. These are offenses that one should only go to jail in the rarest of circumstances. Because these are more social problems than criminal problems. And we treat them as criminal problems and we convert the social animal into a criminal animal. That is, in a nutshell, has been a failure. So we want to change that and to use a softer, more educated method in treating with these problems. And Region 5, we are here with you today. As Ananjit said, we are going to come back, we are going to do training, and we will certify you, because when you train, you get a certificate that you have completed whatever the training is in restorative justice. And when we are ready to engage you, Mr. Silal Patsal and his team will come and engage you, and we will have units, or I don't know what you will call them, Silal, in the various regions to support the magistrate court. Because in every region, you have more than one magistrate's court. In this region, you have 3, Fort Wellington, Weldad, and Blairmont. So we would need a sizable unit of persons here to service these magistrates' courts. So I hope that I have brought some clarity to the issues, and I hope that you will continue to lend your cooperation with what is a unique exercise. And I want to close by thanking you very much for showing us your support by turning out in such large numbers. Thank you very much.